GolfWRX editor Andrew Tursky, and we're here at what's probably the most mysterious golf company in planet Earth right now, Artisan Golf. I got John Hatfield and Mike Taylor. We're gonna go exploring in here and figure out what Artisan's all about. So I think everyone's seen some Artisan Golf putters on Instagram. How did they go from what I see here to the beautiful product that we see in the end?
Well, let me start by saying Mike and I both are really more performance-minded than anything because that's what we've always, had to do our whole career. Everybody comes to us and would say, hey, what do we got to do to make something better? And it was our job to figure that out and work with the engineers and get things. So when we started this on the putter side, one of the questions we would ask our athletes in the past is, hey, what can we do to make it better? And the thing that stood out the most was stability. It was stability. Stability at impact, but also stability during the stroke. So one thing that I thought about was, and I'll show you here, this putter with a steel hosel, that's a lot of weight. It's pretty heavy.
Yep.
And so it likes to pull the CG back and then higher in the face. Well, I like low CG. I like to make it simple.
Why is that?
Well, and I'll tell you. This, it's a flat face with loft, okay? And all we're trying to do is find the optimum lift to get the ball rolling. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the job of the putter. And so low CG helps in that lift, okay? Plus, I want to get down here where I'm actually closer to the part where we're actually hitting the ball, and that's going to be more stable. So started thinking, how am I going to get the CG low and move it out a little bit more towards the toe? And so a bucket hosel or a slant, mid-slant, I'll show you here in a minute. Those are, especially the bucket, it's going to be around forever. It's something that people like to look at. There's a toe hang that goes with it. So I kind of started with that. And I came up with, hey, you know what? Titanium is not only light, but it's strong. So we started working through that and prototyping and finding out where are we moving the CG? What are we doing with the CG? What's happening? And I can say on this particular model right now, if I put a steel hosel in here and check the CG in relation to the cavity, it's going to be back and a little high. If I take this titanium hosel and put it in here, it actually moves about 1.5 millimeters towards the toe, and then we're moving it 1.5 millimeters down towards the sole. And so our CG on this part is centered in the cavity, but it's also centered top to bottom, okay? So anytime that we can strike a golf ball around that CG, it's going to be more stable. That's where you want to hit it.
Gotcha.
So that's how this started. Now, I'm like, okay, I've got to offer different hosels. We did a mid-slant, S-bends, and then I won't make a giraffe neck because it's heavy. It gets heavier, so that pulls that CG up. So we have a small little stub that we can put in there to do double bends to get more of a face balanced or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so the cool thing is, so now we designed this head around this hosel. Okay? So our placement of the cavity, again, if I put a dot there, that's where you want to hit it. It's on the other side of there, on that face, okay? This is actually made out of steel, okay, because it's the same weight as this. And then I'll show you, let me grab this real quick. And then we have this is the little stub that we can go in there and create double bends, and it's
Okay.
actually made out of tungsten. So I've got the same amount of weight going in to the head no matter what I use. So this cavity, this placement is the same for all. This being a little shorter, it actually may lower the CG a little bit more, right, because it's not as tall. But essentially, we've got a very consistent CG placement with one head, okay? So the other thing, now I've got a part that doesn't weigh enough. I've taken weight out back here, and now I'm
Right.
like, hey, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I've got to add that weight back, right? I don't want to make it longer because this is a good length. It's a good breadth, so I want to keep all that consistent. So that's tungsten. So now we've taken
Nice and heavy.
some mass and placed it behind the face. And anytime you take a sweet spot and you wrap it with mass, the off-center hits are more stable. And we're going to we will have off-center hits when we're putting, and that's a fact. So
It happens.
no matter who you are.
Even from 5 feet from me.
Yeah, I mean, we want to try to get that dialed in, but the longer putts, you're gonna miss.
Yeah.
You're gonna miss. So that's how we started. Then we started prototyping, and
So
probably
what's the process of prototyping? Like from soup to nuts, take us through exactly what the process is of making an Artisan Golf putter.
so you've got an idea. Well, now we got to prove it out. So we'll go into CAD, we'll draw it up, we'll go through it, see where everything's at. We'll cut one. We cut it, we put it together, we test. Okay? There's not only performance things that we're looking at, but also making sure it looks the way we want it to look. And we went through 2 prototype phases to get to where we felt where we needed to be. And so, we took it, we said, okay, I don't like this isn't doing this, whatever. So we made our adjustments, and we cut some more. And we go through the testing. And we had some players that we were, good players that we were having come in and test with us and hit putts and taking numbers and stuff. But once we get it dialed in, now we're ready to go.
Right.
We're ready to go. So that's how it goes about. The one thing that we're very proud of is everything is cut in this facility.
Okay.
The heads are cut, this is cut, the weights are turned, the hosels are cut, everything's cut here. And Mike and I started at the Hogan Company 30 years ago. So we've been in Fort Worth. He has the whole time. I was a couple other places during my career, but this is home, and this is where it all started for us. So we're very proud of the Fort Worth legacy.
Absolutely.
And so everything's cut here. We can go over here and kind of start that and kind of go through a couple of things that on how we do things. And as we're going, I can explain why we're doing things that way.
Okay.
How's
cool.
that work?
I want to ask you one more
Yes,
question.
sir.
How many different head models do you guys have available for if I wanted to come to you? I mean, what are my options?
So right now we have the 2 blades, okay? We have 2 mallets that are in the works.
Okay.
June, we will launch at least one for sure, and hopefully both of them. Being in this business for a long time, there's 2 blade shapes that are very, they're most people like. It's a very high percentage of people that prefer that shape. And then I've always said, look, in a mallet, you got to have a square, something that's kind of square, but then you need something that's round. If you get those 4 together, you can
Got most of it covered.
you got it covered pretty well.
Yeah.
Now, long term, we would like to come out with some different models. But right now, we're focused on that, and then we'll do some other stuff later on down the road.
Gotcha. What's the process like? Like, say I wanted to get an Artisan Golf putter and a certain model. Like, how do I go about ordering it, or how do I get it?
So this has been really, really, really fun for me. And I want to say the people are so impressive. I mean, just great people that are, you know, they have a lot of fun. My phone is filled with
I'm
people
sure.
I didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
And now I've got all these people, you know, and I'm, hey man, how you doing? And hey, how was your Christmas? And how was this? Which is really neat. But how we do it is most everything's just off of Instagram, social media. We don't have a website right now. We are working on a website. But they'll send in and ask for information, more information on the putter, on Facebook, on Instagram. And then we'll send out a little brochure that we have kind of explaining a little bit about what we're doing and some different options. And then if they're interested beyond that, I call one-on-one every person. And we start going through the process. Some of it is, hey, I know what I want. And I might ask them a few questions to make sure they know what they want.
Mm-hmm.
But then we'll dial it in and then we'll get it going. I've, people in, guy in Dubai, Canada, all this. They can't get down here.
Right.
They
They're
don't
not
really
coming
know.
to do a putter fitting.
So I'll actually have them send me videos.
Oh wow, okay.
And so I'll go through their videos, and you can learn a lot. You can see what their strokes like. I'm not teaching. I'm fitting what you're doing now.
Fitting would already exist.
Right. And so we can see hand position at impact. We get some loft ideas, and so we'll just really go through and fine tune it. I like to know, what speed greens do you play? Well, I don't know. Well, go ask the pro shop.
Yeah.
They should know, because that's important on what loft that I can put certain players into.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of detail that goes through there. We gather all the information, we sit down, and we come up with a build. The other opportunity is people can come here, and then we can go out to the putting green.
I was going to say, what's your fitting process for a putter if someone comes to the actual facility?
It's very detailed. I believe you fit in the real world on the putting green. Again, I'm not giving you a lesson. So whatever you're doing, okay, that's what you're doing. I'm going to fit you to that. But it's pretty simple when you go out on a right to left breaker, and I've got different sightline options, and I go, all right, hit me some 6-footers. How do you line that up? I mean, I can see, where's the ball going? And so we can dial that in. I'll have them hit some left to righters, and we'll just kind of verify sight lines. You'd be amazed at
how drastic the effect is
like,
of a sight line.
Whoa,
Yeah.
Don't ever get that. That's
Yeah.
not good. You're not
Yeah.
lining that up good. So we'll go through that. And then the next process, loft, sound, and the club build, the balance of that putter, those are all distance. I mean, you've got to dial that in to get comfortable on distance. And I really try to get that dialed in, so I'll have them hit longer, 35, 40 footers, okay? And then I naturally, I feel like you should naturally do this, If I got something 8 foot over here and 6 foot over there and 10 feet by and 10 feet short, we got a problem. Because you're not able to, our brains are pretty dadgum good, we know. So if we can dial all those things in and get the information from the sound coming back, we get the correct build, right? And the correct loft, we can really dial in speed control. And I feel like a lot of guys, what's the worst thing in golf is to go out and have a 3-putt or 2, right? And then a couple of holes later, you got an 8-footer for birdie, and you're thinking about, oh man, I need to make this because I missed, I 3-putted that hole too, and that's just, I don't want to try to get that out of the way.
Gotcha.
We're going to hit some shots that we have long putts. Let's get that dialed in, be comfortable, get it in. We also got to make the short ones too. So waiting you know, there's a lot that goes into it, and everybody's different. I mean, it's fun to go out there, you know, and guys will say, oh, you know, I want it really, really soft. I like soft. Okay. I've got several balls over there from different manufacturers because they're all different, you know, softer, clickier, whatever. So we'll get the ball out there, and then they'll start hitting putts. And what they thought they wanted, that's not really what they really wanted. Yeah. And then they'll find this, and they're like, wow, this is cool, because they really hadn't maybe had the opportunity. And so, you know, it's a lot of fun. So it's very detailed, and we work a lot. And once I feel like we've got them dialed in, you know, different grip sizes, we work with that, lengths, all that stuff. Once we get them dialed in, I just have them start putting, you know, short putts, longer putts, mid-range putts, hard left to righters, whatever. I want them to, they should be able to get pretty close to where, or make some. And so that's kind of what we do on the fitting.
Gotcha. What's different about these putters compared to some other putters that you've made in this building? What are you guys doing differently?
Well, you know, we obviously have some technology that we didn't have. The tie hosels and the weighting we didn't have, and I haven't had before, or haven't made anything like that. But as far as you know, I've cut a ton of putters in here for another company, and made putters in here. Same idea, you know. There's more to it than just like, okay, well, here's this shape and this is the build, right? Then we get into, do you like more of a square look? Do you like more of a soft look, a mid look, or whatever? And we offer that as well on the polishing side, because first off, putter needs to look good when you set it down.
It's number one. First
Next
and
thing,
foremost.
when you hit the putt, it needs to sound good and give you the feedback you need to get better. If you're not getting feedback that's good for you, the audible that you need, it's going to be hard to get really, really good with that putter. And I say this to everybody, and they look at me and go, John, that's not very smart, but I want to build for you that is the correct build. That's my job. That build is yours forever, because I want everybody to become the best putters they possibly can.
Right.
And I believe that's finding the right tool and sticking with it and getting it dialed in, right? And just keep on and on. Some of the best putters in the world, they don't change putters, and I believe in that. So that's kind of what we try to do.
Awesome.